House Bill 793, also known as IHE, Institution of Higher Education, Policy Sexual Assault/Sexual Consent. This House Bill implemented policy to address domestic violence in colleges. We intend to discuss how ambiguous language is used in House Bill 793. Sexual assault versus sexual consent is part of the title. When one hears the word assault and consent, they are often paired with a negative connotation, as you can already tell that the situation being described is not or will not be good. Consent, which is the act of giving permission and not a term used for any singular party in any scenario, is disregarded in all cases of sexual assault and is necessary for all parties involved. Assault gives it a negative connotation, which is associated with violence. This brings up the question of how House Bill 793 will help or harm the victim. Throughout the document, consent is repeated in detail, yet by the time you get to Section 4, you're still wondering under what condition will it be looked at as stalking.
In the introduction of the bill, it proposes preventional policies for sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. These things are addressed throughout the bill, however, they are not specified as for what qualifies for what. According to Collegian.com's article, Domestic Violence, a Silent Crime on College Campuses, domestic violences are not crimes, they are crime enhancers. Based on that, without the depth and detail of what qualifies as domestic violence in the bill, an abuser could get away with the crime, which encourages the question, how far does one have to go for their action to be deemed as sexual assault, domestic dating violence, and stalking? Depending on the type of words being used in the text, it can reveal certain flaws in perceptions of things, which in this case is colleges. An act to direct the State Board of Community Colleges to encourage private institutions of higher education to adopt similar policies. The use of the word direct evokes the feeling of being told what to do or being given an order and having no other choice but to follow through, as to where the word encourage implies private institutes have a choice in the matter of how situations should be handled. The comparison between community colleges and private institutes indicates that students that go to a private school have the funds to assist in the aid of the victim, and insinuates that community colleges have to report any problems found, as to where it seems that private institutes have options to deal with the situations that took place behind closed doors, creating a dissonance between community colleges and private institutions.
According to the Guardian News article, in North Carolina, a person cannot withdraw consent for sex once intercourse is taking place because of a 1979 state Supreme Court ruling that has never been overturned. Continuing to have sex with someone consented then back out isn't considered to be rape. The bill challenges the NC law of sexual assault by stating affirmative consent must be ongoing throughout a sexual activity and can be revoked at any time. The Guardian News article used a form of media bias known as personalization, which focused on individual rather than institutional and emphasized human interest angles. The article provided an anecdote of a victim experienced forced sex. However, it was dismissed as a rape charge. This anecdote allowed the reader to relate to this situation, and therefore it is used so that the people can take action and get the bill pushed further.
Rape culture is a sociological concept used to describe a setting in which rape is pervasive and normalized due to societal attitudes about gender and sexuality. In this image, assault is broken up into 4 degrees, being victimization, degradation, removal, autonomy, and explicit violence. This hierarchy is a type of logos used to show the seriousness of how society has come to accept sexual abuse, which is seen in cartoons and movies and shows such as Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and NBC's Law & Order SVU.
In the movie, there's a scene where Snow White is unconscious and the prince comes to give her a farewell kiss. This kiss was technically a form of sexual assault because she was not in a state of being able to say yes or no. Comparing sexual assault to Disney reveal how children are being conditioned to be susceptible to rape culture and are often disregarding it as romantic. House Bill 793 stated, affirmative consent cannot be assumed if the person was asleep or unconscious.
Law & Order Special Victims Unit reveals a trend of sympathizing with the abuser or offender by associating pedophilia and murder along with a string of other crimes with mental illness, which we don't have any proof that this is or isn't true to justify their actions. By not specifying what the show qualifies as mental illness, the context is slightly off from the definition, making it easy for the public to not be fully aware, and the speaker can persuade them to follow and believe whatever they say. It can also be argued that showing consequences in these shows imply that any type of violence can be punishable.
Oftentimes, in presenting an idea for a bill or law to governor that pertain to controversial topic is usually talked about in a gentle way to not stir up problems in communities and with individuals. Legal language is created conservative, therefore governing bodies have already established legal statement to avoid conflict and leave situation open, causing ambiguity. For example, in the bill, gender and sexuality was never specified or hinted in any way, most likely to leave situation open for whomever is being assaulted, i.e. male, female, others. This bill provides a clear understanding while allowing for adaptation and establishing rules and regulation or the action and behavior of victims and offender while creating bonds with the notion of binding relationship and duties.